Hello, welcome to ASU-N Adult Education, Ms. Nancy's math class. Today we're going to look at how to find the slope of a line. The objectives are to find a slope from a graph and to find the slope from 2 points using the slope formula. Here is an example. What happens when you drive for 1 hour and it's 70 miles? 2 hours is 140 miles, and 3 hours, and so on. The next graph is in January you have $20,000 in revenue. February is $25,000. So how do you find the rate of change? You find the difference between the Y values. On this one it is $5,000. On the previous table you drove for 1 hour and it was 70 miles. You drove for 2 hours, it was 140. So that was 2 times the number of hours. Imagine yourself driving a truck. What's the meaning of this sign? Looks like it's a steep road ahead. Slope is the steepness of a line. It's the vertical change over horizontal change. It can also be defined as rise over run. And this is the slope formula, the difference between the y's over the difference between the x's. Here's an example, the ordered pair, -2 and -2 and 4 and 1. We're going to take the difference between the y's, that's 1 minus a -2, and that's the same as 1 plus 2 equals 3. The next is 4 minus a -2, and that's the same as 4 plus 2 gives me 6. So my slope is 3 over 6, or 1/2. Here we're going to graph it. And if you look at the graph, you start here on the bottom left, you go up 3, which is your rise, and over 6, which is your run. Gives you 1/2. Next one is, the points are 1 minus 4 gives me -3, and then the other one is 1 minus 5 gives me -4. If we graph this, this is a positive slope. And when I end up with -3 over -4, that gives me a slope of 3 over 4. Next one, I have -4 minus a -1 gives me a -3, and 5 minus 1 gives me 4. So my slope is -3/4. And here's the graph. It's a negative slope. The penguin goes downhill. Find the slope of the following points. I have -1 minus a -1. That gives me 0. And the x value is -2 minus 0, so I get -2. The slope on this is 0. And here's the graph. It's a horizontal or 0 slope. All horizontal lines have a 0 slope. The next one, -2 and -3 and -2 and +3. When I take the difference between the y's, I get 6, but the difference between the two x values gives me 0. If I have a 0 in the denominator, the slope is undefined. This is when I have a vertical or an undefined slope. Find the slope by counting units and by using the slope formula. I start here on the y-axis, go over 1 up 2. That gives me -2. Here's your independent practice. You can stop the video and do these on your own. How would you determine the slope of the books? You go for the height from D to C, and then you take the length from point A to D. Put the rise over the run, and you have the slope. Here you have a table, 4 and 200, 6 and 300, 8 and 400. What's the rate of change? I'm going to take 200 divided by 4 gives me 50. 300 divided by 6 gives me 50. 50 is my rate of change. Questions? You can email me at nancycrumball@asun.edu.